Right. Right. Okay. So let's start the session, guys. You're able to hear me, right? Okay. So let's start the session, guys.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. You're able to hear me. Right. Okay. So let's start the session, guys. Okay. Just one. You're able to hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right. So what and all things we discussed in the last class, guys? What and all things we discussed in the last class? Right. Just a minute. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. So how to achieve this one? Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. Okay. Sorry for the late. I'm just setting up the YouTube live. Okay. All right. Now we are ready. Yeah. So good evening, guys. Good evening. Good morning. If anyone joined from the US, so uh, tell me, guys, what things we discussed in the last session. The last session, guys.
Well, I think you have just given the overview about the SQL, what is SQL, and
Yeah. Guys, please.
Roles and responsibilities of DBA.
what is the duration, and so about the software, how to work, what is database.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, a recap, guys. So what and all things we discussed in the last session. So we just discussed about the SQL Server. What is the SQL Server, guys? SQL Server is a database software. Okay, so SQL Server is a database software. So using this SQL Server, we can store the data, we can process the data, and we can retrieve the data. Okay, SQL Server is a database software, guys. Using this software, what we can do, we can store, we can process, and we can retrieve the data, guys. Okay. So where we are going to use this software, as you know, so this software will be used as a backend softwares for any application, right? So application means we discussed anything, any software fulfilling our requirements is called an application. That's the simple definition, guys. Okay, what is application? Well, there is a very big definition is there. Okay, so but to understand the meaning, okay, just to get an idea, so that is a simple definition that application is a software which is going to fulfill the requirement. You want to send money to your friends. So the requirement is you want to send money. So to fulfill this requirement, we'll use an application called either Phone Pay or Google Pay or WhatsApp, or like we have other UPI payments application, right? So like this, we have, I want to chat with our friends, with the students, or you want to chat with your friends. So this is my requirement. Okay, so what you are going to do? You are going to use an application, right? So WhatsApp is an application, so that using the WhatsApp, you are able to chat with the particular friends and all, right? I want to send money, I want to like do some shopping. So depends upon our requirements, we are going to choose the application, guys. So application is a software which will help you to fulfill the requirements, guys. Depends upon the requirements, we'll use the different types of applications. And in the applications, we have different types of applications. Can anyone tell me what and all different types of applications we have?
SQL, MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB.
No, I'm not asking database software. In the
Okay, okay.
application itself, we have different types of applications. So mainly two types of applications. I guess we have discussed in the morning session. So can anyone able to recollect what and all applications are there?
Public application and private application. Internal and
Very good. Very good. We have internal applications. We have external applications. Internal applications means will be accessible by group of people. Like if you go to any bank, they'll use an application in the bank. So to transfer the money, to withdraw the money, to credit the money, to debit the money, to give you the loans. Okay, so like this. Okay, lot of requirements will be there. So for that, they are going to use a internal application, guys. External application means you want to do shopping, right? So you can use, okay, Flipkart, you can use Amazon, SGO, Myntra, depends upon your requirements, you are going to choose the application. And even we have also discussed how this application will work, how the application will work actually. Okay, so we have also discussed how the application will work. Okay, so how the application will work, guys, in every application generally will have a three-tier architecture. So in this three-tier architecture, you can see tier 1 is your web server, and your tier 2 is your tier 1 is your web server, tier 2 is your application server, and tier 3 is your database server, right? So whenever any user is trying to click on anything in the website, so the request will goes to, okay, particular web server of that application. Then the request go to the application server. So application is nothing but an interface. Okay, so what is the definition for application, guys? Application is nothing but an interface between the user and the database, right? Application is nothing but an interface between the user and the database, guys. Okay, so you cannot directly communicate with the database. If you want to communicate with the database, you should know the query. You should know query language, right? You should know the commands and all. But if I want to buy one smartwatch, that doesn't mean I have to learn the query, right? Right? If you want to buy a mobile phone, that doesn't mean I have to learn the query to pull the mobile phone information, right? So your application server will help you. It will act as an interface between your database, okay, and the user, like who are connecting through the browser. So it will act as an interface between, it's a kind of a mediator between the user and the database. Whatever things that you are clicking on the website, so you don't know what is the query to pull the product information. You know only that product. You want to buy that particular product. So you will click on that product. So when you click on that particular product, internally one query will be generated. That query will be sent to the database server. So the database server will execute that query, and then whenever you execute any query, generally you'll get the output, right? That output again database server will send to the application server, and application server again will send that particular response to the particular web server, and then web server is going to throw you the response on your browser. So in this way, you are able to access that particular application, or you are able to access that particular product, guys. So this is called three-tier architecture. Any application, three-tier architecture is common, guys. So the first tier is like your web server, okay, and your second tier is your application server, and then your third tier is your database server. So in the back end, we will use the database, right? So that's why we'll call the database softwares as a backend database softwares. In the front end, we'll use the application, right? So that's why we'll call the applications as a front end applications, back end databases, guys. Front end applications and back end databases. So can you give me any example for the applications, like what and all languages we'll use to design the application? Can you give me any examples for the application softwares, guys? What and all language we'll use to design the front end?
Java.
Java.
Very good. .NET, C#, right? We have lots of softwares are there, so we'll use those softwares to design the front end applications. So back end also we have different softwares, guys. We have different vendors in the database. We have different, okay, what I can say, different flavors in the database, guys. We have SQL Server, we have MySQL, NoSQL, Oracle, MongoDB, Postgres. So like this, we have different database softwares in the market. If organizations are using SQL Server, then as a SQL DBA, our work will start, right? And we have also discussed the responsibilities of the DBA. So DBA is responsible for maintaining the SQL Server, managing the SQL Server, configuring the SQL Server. Okay, so we are responsible for the database security, and we are responsible for the database safety, guys. We have to give the permissions as per the requirements. We have to take the backups, and during disasters, we have to restore the databases. So in this way, we can provide the safety to the particular databases. And we will also responsible for the automation. We have to create jobs, maintenance plans, okay, to automate the regular things that we are doing in the organization. So DBA is responsible for the automation, guys. And we have also discussed like the DBA is responsible for high availabilities. Okay, so we have high availability features in the SQL Server, right? So we discussed what is high availability. High availability is nothing but making the application highly available 24/7/365 days. The application should be available, that we can achieve using different concepts in the SQL Server. So we have 5 techniques to maintain high availability and disaster recovery. So log shipping, mirroring, replication, Windows clustering, of course SQL clustering, and always on. These are the different techniques we'll use to maintain the high availability in the SQL Server. So these techniques are mainly, the goal of these 5 techniques are, can anyone tell me? What are the objectives of these 5 techniques, guys? Can anyone tell me?
Stage.
To have the data live 24 hours.
Right.
Database available and always.
Always available.
So database should be always available. Very good. Okay, right. So the main objectives are like the data should be synchronized across the servers. And the second one is like, in case if something goes wrong, the secondary will act as a primary and the primary will act as a secondary kind of role reversal. So we'll discuss, that is called failover actually. So we'll discuss how it is going to be, like how the primary will be converted into secondary, how the secondary will be converted into primary. So in this way, we are going to discuss all these things, guys. In future, we are going to discuss all these things. Okay. So we have also discussed about the course curriculum, right? So we have also discussed about the course curriculum, course duration, overview, how to practice, requirements, how to set up the lab, what about future, what and all added advantage you'll get when you join in this course, what and all add-ons, okay? And we also discussed about different packages, discussed about the speaker series. So all these things we discussed, guys, right? So this is what we discussed in the last class. So I hope if anyone having any questions, you can ask me, guys. I'm sure new people joined. Okay, so I think you have some questions, right? So I can see some of the new participants. So any questions, any doubts, guys, about the course?
Hi Shanmugh, Mahesh here.
Yes, Mahesh.
Do we have any? I think we are coming from non-IT background. So in the SQL DBA course, we can require any coding knowledge we have, or we can simply only queries we can work.
See, generally DBAs, okay, so why we choose SQL DBA? The first thing is like, as we don't have queries, okay? So good question actually, Mahesh. So for DBAs, we don't need any scripting knowledge and all, okay? So for DBAs, we don't need any scripting knowledge. In the DBA, okay, you don't see any scripting. It's good to learn the scripting, okay? So if you are okay, if you can understand, it's good, or else that is fine, okay? Even though you are not interested to learn. Why? Because most of the people will come for like DBA as there is no coding and all, okay? So generally there will be no coding, guys. Generally there will be no coding in the SQL DBA. We will have some queries, okay? There is a difference between coding and query. So small queries like select star from sys dot databases, sp underscore who to, okay, select star from sys processes. So like this will use 5 to 10 queries, a single line queries will use throughout the course, okay? So that is more than enough, guys. That is more than enough, okay? So you don't worry about the coding and all. So mostly there will be no coding. It's good to learn the SQL DBA, like we have T-SQL programming, we have T-SQL programming is there. If you want to try, if you want to get more knowledge and all, you can try that one, but it's not mandatory. Again, for DBS, no coding required, no coding knowledge required, no need to learn any coding, and even I don't teach any coding in this course.
Yeah, okay. But we can learn the cloud also. We can advantage, right? And further.
Yes. If you see that there will be an added advantage, right? Definitely there will be an added advantage. If you learn, you will be good in performance tuning and all.
Yeah. Okay, Shanmugh.
Not
Thank you.
mandatory. Yeah. Right? Any questions?
Every session is recording, right? So where we will get the recording?
So you will get the initially I'll upload the few videos, not more, like almost like 5 to 10 videos. I'll upload in our channel. We'll create a batch 52 playlist. So that's why I told you in the morning, subscribe to our channel. So I'll create a batch 52 playlist by tonight. So whatever classes are completed till now. So morning class is already, it's a YouTube live class. So it was uploaded. So now also like we are going with the YouTube live. So after this class, immediately the class will be accessible in our channel under live section. If you go to this, okay, so let me close this, delete clear all drawings, okay, and let me close this, and right, so go to YouTube, and what you can do, so you know, right, our channel name SOS University. So go to our channel name, SOSC University. Okay, and then right, you can go to this is our channel, and you can go to live. Okay, so the morning class is already uploaded, guys. Okay, you can see this is our morning class. Okay, and this is our morning class. This is the current one. Okay, so currently we are live, right? So this is the current one. So I'm going to create a playlist and I'm going to upload these videos. I'll separate these videos under batch 52 playlist. So if you go to playlist, there you can see I haven't created yet. I'll create a batch 52 playlist here, and from there initially you can access the videos. But again, I'll give you all the videos recordings to your Google Drive. So once I just shared all the recordings, like once the class is over, I'll share the recordings, right? You'll get the email update. So using that email, okay, you can access the recordings.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions, guys, before jumping into the session? Any questions? No questions, no doubts. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Right. Just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Okay, done. Fine. Right. So let's discuss about the basic things and all. Okay, let's discuss about the basic things, guys. Right. So in the morning session, we discussed about the course overview, how it will work and all. So we'll start the session slowly, guys. So we'll discuss. Okay. So you know that SQL Server is a database software. So using the database software, what we are going to do, guys, we can store the data, we can process the data, and we can retrieve the data, right? We can store, we can process, and we can retrieve the data. So data. What is this data? What is meant by data, guys? What is meant by data?
Information about collection of informations like tables.
So what is
what is
data?
that?
Data and information both are same or both are different. So what is the difference between data and information?
Like
just try it, guys. Not an issue. I'm not going to give you any marks. Okay, just try it.
yeah, data is like some structured form, but information is like some random, like something like that.
Closed, but you just okay.
All type of information we calling data.
All type of information we call it as a data. Okay, very good. Guys, try, guys. Just tell me whatever you understand. Just tell me, not an issue.
Data is numbers and words.
Okay, data is numbers and words.
Data is
right. So data is nothing but raw facts and figures is called data, guys. Okay, what is data? Raw facts and figures. Raw facts and figures is called data. Okay, so if you see here, so if you just check this one, it's a raw data, guys. You don't understand anything by just looking at the data. You don't understand anything, guys. Data is a kind of a raw format always. Data is a kind of a raw format always. Raw means an unstructured data. See here, if you see here, you can see 10,000 Mahesh, IT, KR-Puram, ABC apartments. By just looking this value, can you understand anything? What is this and all?
No.
No, right? It's just a raw facts and figures only. It's in the raw format. It's an unstructured format. Data is a raw facts and figures. By just looking at the data, you don't understand anything, guys. It's an unsorted data, an unstructured data. When you process the data, that is called information. When you process the data, that is called information. If you see here, you don't understand what is this and all. You don't understand what is this 10,000. Okay, Mahesh is a kind of name. Again, you don't understand what is this IT. You don't understand what is this KR from ABC apartments and all. You don't understand anything, guys. But when I process this data, I'm able to understand. Okay, I'm able to understand. So what is meant by processing, guys? If you see here, I just added some context to this data. I just added some context to the data. Initially, you don't know what is this. Now what I did, guys, I created some columns. Okay, so I created some columns. That means I just added some context. Then you are able to identify every value. So that is whatever you see in the last screen, that is the employee information, guys. So I just added a context. Okay, so I just added one column name like employee ID, employee name, department, address, salary. Earlier, you don't know what is this 10,000. When I added that salary, when I added a context called salary, automatically you're able to get an idea. Okay, the 10,000 is the salary. Earlier, you don't know what is ABC apartments KR Puram. Now, when I added in a context, that is an address. Okay, so now you're able to understand. Okay, that is an address field. And earlier, if there is just an IT word, you don't understand what is this. As he's an employee, so every employee should belongs to one department, right? So he belongs to IT department. So I added a context called department. Then I gave a context employee name and I have added one value to employee ID. So that's how that means data is nothing but raw facts and figures, an unstructured data, okay, an unsorted data. So when you process the data, automatically it will become an information, guys. This is called an information. What is this, guys? This is called an information. So when you add some context to the data, it will be converted into information, guys. When you add a context to the data, it will be converted into information. So what is the difference between data and information, guys? Data is an unstructured format, whereas information is
Structured format.
A structured format, guys. So your SQL server will do that. So the definition, what is the basic definition of the SQL server? SQL server is a database software which will help you to store the data, right? Which will help you to store the data. It can store the data, to process the data. What is meant by processing? Adding context to the data. So we can process the data as per our requirements. So by using SQL Server, we can do that and we can retrieve the data. Guys, we have 5 terabytes of storage hard disk, or we have 10 terabytes of hard disk. Okay, or forget about all these things. We have 128 GB phone. So why, guys, earlier we just started with a 256 KB phone, just 256 KB phone, kilobytes. Later 256 KB became 128 MB, then 256 MB phones, then 1 GB phones, then 2 GB phones, then 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB phones, 64 GB phones, 128 GB phones. Now that is also not sufficient. We are buying 256 GB phones, and one phone is there with 1 terabyte. I guess Apple is there, right? With 1 TB, right? So now see how it is evolving, guys. Initially, we started with 256 KB. Now even 128 GB, 256 GB is also not sufficient for us. How much data we are producing daily? Photos, videos, whatever it is. So that 128 GB is also not sufficient. We'll take the backup every year. We'll keep it in the system. We'll delete. Again, we'll start pumping the data into the phone storage. So we are capturing lot of moments. We are generating lot of data. So what we are going to do with the data, right? Why we are taking a photo, right? To retrieve whenever we want to see, just to retrieve. So even though you have terabytes of data, if we are unable to retrieve the data, what is the use of it, guys? Right? So you should be able to retrieve the data quickly using the SQL Server. See, the same example, guys, when you click on any product, you are able to get the product information right quickly. In the Amazon website, when you just click on any product, automatically you're able to get it. So in the Amazon, we will have millions of products, guys. In the Amazon, we will have millions of products. So out of that, so we are able to get one particular product information. If you are not able to recover or retrieve the any information, what is the use of the data, guys? What is the use of storing, okay, millions of items in the website and the database, right? So SQL Server is a database software which will help you to store the data. Why we have to store? To retrieve the data and to process the data. These are the main functionalities of the SQL Server. So using this SQL Server software, not only SQL Server, any database software will do this only. So using the SQL Server software, we can store the data, we can process the data, and we can retrieve the data, right? So that is possible with the help of a database software, guys. So we have a SQL Server software to do all these things. So when the journey started, guys, for SQL Server, any idea? So initially, the journey started in the year of, I mean to say 1980s, 1984 or 85 exactly, okay? So in 1980s, okay, initially SQL Server was developed by Sybase, guys. Initially, SQL Server was developed by Sybase. Okay, we have one database called Sybase. Sybase is also one database product, guys. That is also one product. Okay, so that Sybase designed this SQL Server concept earlier, like in the 1980s. Okay, later what happened? Microsoft take over this project, guys. Microsoft, okay, so like completely take over this project from Sybase. It just bought this project from Sybase. Later, Microsoft implemented its own features and all. Then once Microsoft started, okay, implementing the new features and all, this became so popular product in the database industry, guys. Now also, believe me, SQL Server is occupying a major share in the database market. I am not saying as a DBA trainer. Okay, if you go to this, if you go to Google, okay, if you just type Gartner report for SQL Server, so there will be a report, guys. So you can see here. So if you go and check this in the database software, okay, so you can see what and all leaders, okay, so who are all playing leader positions in the database software, you can see, guys. Okay, so if you see here, this is leader section, and these are the challenger section, and these are the niche player section, and these are the visioners section, guys. Okay, if you see here, Microsoft is top, guys. Microsoft is the top. After Microsoft, you can see Oracle. So you are not learning any, some, like what I can say, you're learning a good technology, guys, which is already occupied lot of share in the database market. Even though that is old technology, so even though that is old technology, lot of database softwares are like MemSQL, like we have different softwares, guys. Okay, but still Microsoft is occupying a leader share in the database market, guys. So you're not learning any small software. It's a very big software. Microsoft occupied like major share in the database software. Why, guys? After taking the Microsoft took this project from the Sybase, right? So after taking the project from Sybase, Microsoft introduced a lot of features in the database, guys. Lot of features. And earlier, if you know,
Same color that painted.
Mhm.
What color?
Just give me a minute, guys. Yeah. Right, okay. Earlier, if you want to manage like Oracle databases and all, you should know the coding, guys. Now also you should know the coding if you want to manage Oracle databases. You should know the coding, you should learn Linux and all. Okay, but the advantage with the Microsoft SQL Server is it's the GUI, graphical user interface. Okay, graphical user interface. Microsoft, okay, introduced GUI into the database industry, guys. GUI, graphical user interface. Till then, if you want to manage the database software, you should know the coding. But once Microsoft introduced this GUI technology, okay, once Microsoft introduced this GUI technology, then it became so easy, guys. It became so easy to maintain the databases and all. Everyone used it to learn the database because of the Microsoft, guys. Right? So Microsoft, we have a lot of versions in the SQL Server, like we have different versions. We'll discuss. There is a separate class. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll start the versions. Okay, so we have different versions in the SQL Server. We have like 87, we have 93, and we have SQL Server 95, 97, 2000 onwards, guys. SQL Server 2000 onwards. Okay, so the whole database industry at that time, okay, turned into your particular Microsoft. Microsoft occupied a lot of market share using the SQL Server 2000 version, guys. SQL Server 2000 version. What is this SQL Server? This is a version, guys. Generally, in which year you will release the software. So that year, generally, Microsoft will give the numbers using the years. I mean to say, if they released in the year of 2000, so that is SQL Server 2000 version. If they released one more software in the year of 2005, so that is SQL Server 2005. If you go to Oracle and all, that there will be a different structure like 10C, 11C, well, whatever it is, 12C kind of, okay, versions will be there. But in the SQL Server, it's not like that. So when you release that particular product, okay, so in the year of 2000, so they will name that version as SQL Server 2000, SQL Server 2005, 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, like this. It just released the latest versions and all in the market. So it will give the name which year it was released. In the same way, it just give the name like SQL Server, and it will followed with a year, guys. Okay, SQL Server 2000, 2005, 8 R2. So like that, we have a separate discussion on the versions. So don't worry, guys. So tomorrow we'll start the SQL Server versions and all. So this is how SQL Server journey started, guys. This is how SQL Server journey started. So initially it was with a Sybase. Later Microsoft take over this project, and then Microsoft started introducing a GUI in the database software. From that point onwards, okay, Microsoft occupies major share in the database software, guys. So that's how the journey was started for Microsoft SQL Server, guys. Questions?
Sir, what is the latest version?
SQL Server 2022.
Okay.
So in the last year, it was released SQL Server 2022, guys. Right. So this is how the SQL Server journey started, guys. So like we are discussing about data and all, right? Data. Okay, and we just discussed data and information, difference between data and information. So data is a kind of raw facts and figures. When you process the data again, okay, it will go to it will be converted into information. So that processing can be done using a database software. So SQL Server is also one software which will help you to process your data, guys. So before, like, database means SQL Server is a database software, guys, right? So before database, where we use it to store the data, guys? Before the database technology, forget about SQL Server or Oracle, whatever it is, where we use it to store the data?
In the computer.
Books.
Sorry?
In the computer, sir.
Excel.
Computer like Excel. Okay, so earlier we used Excel sheets. Okay, so Excel is also a beautiful software, guys. Shanmukh, by using Excel, whatever you said, I can do that. I can store the data in the Excel. I can process the data in the Excel. I can retrieve the data using Excel. Can I call Excel is a database software? Yes. Yes. Using Excel also I can do that. Okay, but the challenge is Excel is not so compatible with the applications. If the data is huge, Excel cannot manage. If you have terabytes of data, you can understand if it is 1 GB Excel file, it will take a lot of time to load. We are managing terabytes of data. So we cannot manage the whole data using the Excel. Okay, so that's why like they introduced this databases and all. So it was like parallel introduced. I'm not saying only because of this they introduced, but like it was like a development, guys. Okay, so before Excel, we used it to store the data in the flat files and all. Before flat files, when there is no computer, where we use it to store the data, guys? Papers. Before papers? Before papers? Leaves, whatever it is. Before that, Stone Age. We used to store the
storage.
data on the stones.
GBs, memory card,
Correct.
and pen drives.
Right. So like this, it was changed, guys. Now we are using databases to store the data. In future, might be we'll use a different concept to store the data. Why? Because as of now, we can manage the load using the data, guys. Okay, in future, now you can see like everyone in a house, everyone is having 2-3 YouTube channels. Lot of data they are generating. In future, another thing will come into the market. Some other concept will come into the market. So nothing is like permanent, guys. Again, it will be changed. So I'm not saying, but again, on the basis of the database, it will be changed. So that's how we used to store the data, and that's how we used to retrieve the data, guys. So as a DBA, you should know the importance of the data. As a DBA, you should know the importance of the data, guys. Nowadays, everyone is taking your data. If you go to saloon shop also, he is also taking the data. Why, guys? Why? Any idea? You know, right? If you go to more supermarket, they will take our numbers. If you go to some Reliance store, they'll take our numbers. If you go to any store, they'll take the numbers. If we tell like, no, I don't give. So no, it's mandatory you have to give. Why? What they will do with the data, guys?
Analysis.
To improve their business.
Correct. Next. What they will do? Okay, they will improve. For example, if you go to more supermarket and all, they are going to track each and everything using your mobile number. Okay, this mobile number, how much business it did in the last 1 year, what things you are buying regularly. Like earlier guys, when there is no this kind of technology, what happened? So most of the people, they don't have mobile numbers and all, right? So for example, if more business is dull in the Bangalore location, so what they have to do, they use it to give the paper ads, advertisements and all to improve their business. So now what happened? In every road there is a more supermarket. In every road there is a Reliance Trends, Reliance Fresh is there. So they are collecting, they are capturing each and every customer information. And if they feel one branch business is down, they are sending a customized offers to the particular customers and all. So they are improving the business. They saved a lot of money. Not only this, forget about more supermarket, forget about this Reliance and all. People are buying and selling your data without knowing you guys. Now we are discussing, right? This is our business to discuss the things, to learn the things. Now also, unknowingly, your data will be sold, guys. Now also, every time, every minute, your data is going to be exchanged to the different parties. Someone will sell your data. Now also, at 7:54 also, now also your data will be exchanged. Data is a wealth. Information is wealth, guys. Information is a wealth. As a DBA, you should know the importance. If you go to any store, if they are asking the number, reject them. I don't want to give my number. They are doing business. They should have the separate arrangements if we are denying. But if we deny to give the number and all, no, you have to give the number. If you strongly says, then they will give their own customer, like their own outlet number and all they'll give. So you should know the importance, guys. Why? Because you can sell the information to multiple parties. Multiple parties you can sell the information. If you are doing a job, again, you can, they'll sell your data to the banks, to the loans, like who are providing the loans and all. Right? If you're doing a different business, again, for every business, say for example, last week, I just went for the home lane, for the interior designing and all. Not sure, almost 10 people got my contact. Every day, 10 people are going to call me. Are you interested in interior designing? That is just a interior designing. So I just went to a mall. I just went to the particular home lane. So I gave my number, right? As a DBA, you only said, right, you cannot give the number and all. But just to explore the things, I gave the number. Why? Because then only they'll give the appointment and all. So I just gave my number. That's it. Not only home lane, almost 10 people called to my number. So if I asked how you got my number, they are saying like I got this from home lane. Means every organization is selling your data legally and illegally, guys. Okay, why? Because information is wealth. So if they got my number, they'll get some kind of business, whatever it is, whether it is a interior designing or whether it is a home loan, whether it is a house loan, whether it is a personal loan, whatever it is, somehow they can do the business. So as a DBA, you should know the importance of the data, guys. Okay, this is very, very important. Don't give the numbers to anyone. I mean to say, like in the shop and all, you can deny them. Okay, so you can happily deny them and don't give the numbers, guys. It's very important, right? So we are using database to store the data, right? We are using database to store the data. But in what format we are storing the data, you should know, right? In what format we are storing the data? What is the format we are using to store the? So whatever we are using, like the database, Excel sheet, flat files, papers, that is like different. That is a medium of storage objects, we can say. That is the medium. But in what way you are storing the data in these things? In database, how you are storing the data? In Excel sheet, how you are storing the data? So that is called format. In what way the data will be stored in the database, guys? So we have like tables. We have a concept called table. So using table, we are going to store the data in the databases, guys, using tabular format. That is the format, guys. Using tabular format. Before tabular format, people tried a lot of formats, guys. We have different types of, I can say, bus network topology, a tree structure data, like use it to store the data in different ways, but nothing is going to fulfill the requirement. So later what happened, guys? Okay, they slowly developing the concept. Okay, like they slowly developed the concept, like they started storing the data in the tabular format, guys. So if you are storing the data in the tabular format, you can store a lot of things, and the two retrieval is very easy, guys. Retrieval is very easy when you store the data. Before tabular format, we have different formats, guys. We have different formats. Okay, like we have a tree structure, we have a network model, we have a relational model. Okay, so before the database for the tabular format, we have different models and all. But in each model, lot of disadvantages are there. Then slowly they design this, okay, tabular format. So they use it to store the data in the DBMS model. What is that, guys? DBMS. What is DBMS?
Database management
Database
system.
management system. Okay, so what is this, guys? What is this? So it's a system that how you are managing the data. Okay, so before this system, we have tree structure, we have network model, we have relational model and all, but none of the formats gave, okay, 100% solution to retrieve the data quickly, guys. But a DBMS is a way how you are storing the data in this database. That is called DBMS, database management system. So it will tell you in what format you are storing the data in the database, guys. So
Please repeat. Please repeat, sir.
Database
DBM.
database management system is a system will help you in what way you are storing the data, in what format you are storing the data, like how you are managing the data, right? So we are managing the data using tabular format, guys. Means in DBMS, we'll store the data using tables. In DBMS, we are storing the data using tables or tabular format. So not only SQL Server, guys, all the RDBM softwares are following the same format. So in Oracle also data will be stored in tables only. In MySQL also data will be stored in the form of tables only. So whatever you are storing, guys, whatever you are storing in the database software, everything will be stored in the form of tables only. There is no other way. There is no other format. Okay, this data will be stored in different format. That data will be stored in a different format. Nothing like that. Okay, whatever data is there, everything, including the system-related configuration information, also will be stored in the form of tables only. So DBMS is a way that how we are managing the data. So how we are managing the data, guys? Using the tables, we are storing the data in the database, guys. Using the tabular formats, we are storing the data in the database, guys. Right? So now, I hope you know, for example, I want to track student details information, guys. I want to store the student details. Okay, so now tell me what and all columns you'll include in the student details. Tell me, guys. Tell me, just give me an example.
Student number,
Yes,
And
number,
ID.
ID number. Okay, next.
student name,
Name. Next.
Department.
Department. Which department? Okay, department.
Email ID, contact number,
Email ID. Okay. Contact number. Okay. Next.
address,
Address. Very good. Next.
college name,
Mobile number. Okay, we have added.
contact number given. Okay.
Next.
College name,
Father name.
Other name. Okay. Middle name. First name. Last name. Okay.
Qualification.
Qualification. Okay. Qualification. Okay. Next.
Grade.
Sorry, what is that?
Grade.
Date.
Grade.
Getting
grade, marks,
grade. Okay. Grade. Okay. Marks. Okay.
Date of birth.
DOB. Very good. Next.
year passed out,
Okay. Year passed out. Every batch will forget about
Father name.
very important column. Passed out year. Okay. So every batch will forget that important column, guys. What is that important column? What is that important column, guys?
Let group.
Which one?
section, class,
Section, class. Okay. Still you are missing very
subjects,
important column. Still you are missing very important column. What is that?
School name.
Huh? What is that?
School name.
Tool name. Okay. Why, guys? How? If you are able to, if you are forgetting about the important column, P is very important, right?
Percentage.
Correct.
You forgot the P or
Really important.
you're ignoring the P column, huh?
That is main thing.
Right. So like this, if you start tracking the data, if you start storing the data, we can keep on add the columns, right? Whatever you said, everyone said there is a contribution. Someone said like this column name, someone said this column name. So you're thinking what kind of things that I can track using the table. Whatever you said, everything is correct. I want to track all the things. Whatever you said, all these things are correct. Still, if I gave you a chance, you can add some more columns also. So if you are keep on increasing the columns, so what is the problem, guys? The table will be very big, right? The table will be very big, right? So what is the problem if the table is big?
retrieval will be slow.
Retrieval will be slow, right? So because of that, what happened? Father of RDBMS, okay? Who is this, guys? Father of RDBMS. Actually, SQL Server is an RDBMS software. What is the definition, guys? SQL Server is an RDBMS software, okay, which will help you to store the data, to process the data, to retrieve the data. So what is RDBMS? Relational Database Management System. So you know what is DBMS, right? Database Management System means that is the way of storing the data. Then what is RDBMS?
Relation between the two databases.
Not databases, two
Tables.
tables, right? So if the table is very big, lot of challenges are there. Security is one challenge, safety is one challenge, performance is one challenge. So if the tables are very big, lot of challenges are there. So what EF card proposed? EF card. What is his name, guys? Okay, EF card, father of RDBMS. EF
Index.
card. Yeah. So he proposed, okay, whatever you are managing the data, like using DBMS, that is good. Do one thing, add R to the DBMS, so it will become RDBMS. So what is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS? So you can create the tables, like small tables you can create, guys. You can create the tables, okay? Small tables you can create, and you can create the relationship between the tables using a common column. Using a common column, you can create a relationship between the tables. So again, if you see here, okay, if you see here, this is a separate small table, okay, this is a separate small table, and this is a separate small table, okay. So in every table, what is common, guys?
ID.
ID is common. So using this ID, I can easily track the data, right? Using this ID column, I can easily track the data. So what EF card proposed, hey, instead of creating a big tables, let's go with the small tables. And how they are going to link each other, guys? How they are going to relate each other? Using a common column. So if I want to give access to only this table, I can give access. I can simply, okay, hide this column, what the fee column and all. I can simply hide the whole table. What is the fee? How many installments? How much he paid? How much he has to pay? Like salary. Imagine an employee salary. I can track lot of things, right? So employee salary shouldn't be visible to everyone. So what I will do? Definitely I'll create a separate table. When I create a separate table, I should be able to retrieve the data, right? So using what I can retrieve the data? Using a common column. Okay. So in the RDBMS system, same, it is also same as DBMS. Okay. But in both the models, we have the data will be stored in the form of tables only. In the DBMS, there will be no relationship between the tables. So if the table is very big, so it will create some performance issues and all. But in the RDBMS, we can create small tables using a common column. We can relate these tables each other so that I can maintain the security, I can maintain the safety, and the performance also will be good because of this model. This is how RDBMS model was developed, guys. Guys, no one will ask any questions on this. This is just an idea for you guys, okay? This is just for an idea so that you should know, right, what is the history. Without knowing history and all, without knowing these things and all, it's not good to jump into the technology directly. This is just an history, guys. No one will ask any questions from these concepts. Nothing to worry, just for an idea. Sorry. Questions? Questions, guys? Okay, so if you see here, right? So the tabular format, and if you see, this is one more example. Okay, so what is the example, guys? If you see here, Windows Shift, let's go with this one, snipping tool. Okay, so and let me right. So now if you see here, can you understand anything, guys? If you just look at these numbers, can you understand
No.
anything?
No, sir.
Just numbers, right?
Just
So what is
numbers.
this? What is this? Data or information? This is
Data.
data. This is just a data. You cannot understand anything. What is this 51? You don't know. What is this 77? You don't know. Cannot understand anything by just looking at this data, guys. Right? So now if I add a context to the data, okay? Now if I add a context, okay, so what is the context? So now if you see here, okay, 1 minute, I am getting this. Okay. Right. Okay. So now if I add the context to the data, so if you see here now, so this is just a raw data, guys. If you see here, this is just a raw data. You cannot understand anything by just looking the data numbers and all. But I just added a context. What is the context, guys? I have added. So the context is these are the test scores achieved by the students, guys. Now what is this, guys? Now what is this? What are these values now? So now you have an idea. These are the marks achieved by the students, right? Right. So now you have an idea. What is the context I have added here? I have added a context to these numbers. So what is the context? Test scores achieved by students. Now you got an idea. Okay, these are the marks. So when you got an idea, these are the marks. Immediately, what kind of thoughts will be there in your mind, guys? As you know, these are the marks.
Individual subject.
Correct, right? So immediately you will think like, okay, these are the marks, right? Who got highest marks? Okay, this guy got highest marks. Who got lowest marks? Okay, so the lowest mark is 51. So what is the average? So how many people below average? How many people above average? So that is called processing. That is called processing, guys. Okay, so when you see the data, that is kind of a raw format, you don't understand anything. But when you add some context to the data, so there will be a meaning to the data. The meaningful data is called an information. So a processed data is called an information. So information will have information will be in a sorted order, like a structured data will be there in the information. So that's how the data will be managed, and that's how it is going to be processed, guys. Okay, so by using SQL Server, we can do that. Okay, so now if you see the tables, okay, let me show you the tables, guys. You will get an idea, right? How the table will be. Okay, so if you just open this, you can see this is how the table will be generally. Okay, so this is how the table format will be. What is table? What is a table, guys? Okay, so the data in the RDBMS will be stored in the form of objects called tables. Remember the word called object. In the SQL Server, we'll call everything as an object, guys. An object. Object means a thing, right? What is object? Object means it's a thing. So the data in the RDBMS will store in the form of database objects called tables. Okay, in any database software, generally the data will be stored in the form of tables. This table basically is a collection of related data entries. What is table, guys? Table, you can say it's a collection of rows and columns, and you can also say like related data entries. Table is nothing but it's a collection of related data entries. Okay, it's a collection of related data entries, guys. It consists of numerous columns and rows. It consists of numerous columns and rows, guys. Remember, a table is the most common and simplest form of data storage in a relational database. Very simple. Table is the most common, simplest form of data storage in an RDBMS relational database. So this is the example for the table, guys. If you see here, the vertical entity is called column. And if you see here, the horizontal entity is called
Row.
Row.
row or record. The
Records.
vertical entity is called column and the horizontal entity is called record. So table is nothing but collection of rows and columns.
Columns.
Table is nothing but collection of rows and columns and related data entries. So this is an employee table, guys. This is an employee table. So what you can store in this employee table? You can store employee related information, right? So in the employee table, I cannot store onions information, okay? And aloo information, vegetables information, I cannot store, right? So it should be a related data entries. This is an employee information, only employees information I can store. A table is the very simplest and most common form in the database, relational database system, guys. So everything will be stored. Whatever data you are storing in the database will be stored in the form of tables only. Right? So table is a collection of rows and columns. The horizontal entity is called row or record. Okay, so the horizontal entity is called row or record. You will get a complete information because of the row. Row will give you complete information for a particular entry, right? So it will give you a complete information for a particular entry. Employee ID, employee name, employee age, location, and the salary. So row will give you complete information about that particular entry, but whereas column will give you complete information about that particular
Column.
yes, particular field. I can say particular field, right? Row will give you complete information about the record, whereas column will give you information about that particular field, guys, right? So field or column both are same. Field, F-I-E-L-D, okay? Field or column both are same. Row or record both are same, guys. Field or column both are same. Row or record both are same, guys. Okay, clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is the table, and if you see here, okay, so what is a field? Every table is broken up into smaller entities called fields. The field is in the customers table consists of ID, name, age, address, and salary. We just clicked, right? So ID, name, age, address, and salary. ID is one column, name is one field, age is one field, address is one field, and salary is also one field. Okay. So if you see here, record. What is a record, guys? A record is also called as a row of data is each individual entry that exists in a table. Okay. For example, 7 records in the customers table. If you see here, you can see 7 records. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 records are there. Okay. So let me show you the example. So this is the record.
Hey, बासमती राइस दिया भैया नहीं बढ़ा दिया ना 50 to 80 डॉलर
Satish. Right. So a horizontal entity is called a record, whereas a vertical entity, okay, so vertical entity, forget about these things. Yeah. So if you see here a column or field, a column is a vertical entity in a table that contains all information associated with the specific field. All information associated, see the address column contains all employees address information to a specific field, right? It contains the whole information about a specific field, whereas record contains the whole information about a particular row, right? So this is one column, guys. Address is one column. So the vertical entity is called a column. The horizontal entity is called a row or a record, guys. Clear? Any questions, guys? Any questions, doubts? Okay, do one thing, okay? So go for a break. Let's take a 15 minutes break, guys. We'll be back at 8:35 again. Okay, so we'll discuss other things. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So we'll be back after 15 minutes, guys. I'll be in mute.
Okay.
Right, okay. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, bro.
Yes.
Okay. Right, okay. So let's continue the session, guys. Okay. So any questions till now? Any questions, any doubts? Any questions, guys? No questions? We are good? Right. Okay, chalo, then let's jump into the session, guys. Let me do one thing. Let me go to this and let me go to this. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Okay. Just a minute. Let me open this one. Right, okay. Right. So let's slowly jump into the topics, guys, one by one we'll discuss, right? So just now we discussed what is SQL Server, what is DBMS, okay? So guys, SQL Server is a database software, right? And which will help us to store the data, to process the data, and to retrieve the data. And it will be in the back end, okay? For every application, database software is important, guys. So backend, the database software will be there, like SQL Server. It can be a SQL Server, it can be Oracle, it can be MySQL, NoSQL, anything. And if people are using SQL Server, then as a SQL DBA, our work will start. If you learn Oracle, you can be a Oracle DBA, MySQL DBA, NoSQL DBA. So everyone is DBA only, but the technology depends upon the technology. If you learn SQL Server, you are a SQL DBA. If you learn Oracle, you are an Oracle DBA. Like that, it will be, guys. Okay. And once you learn one database technology, it's easy to learn other database technologies, guys. The base concepts will be same, but the way that you are going to do is different. Okay. Right. So, and we have also discussed the difference between, okay, table and other objects and all, like what is a table and the difference between DBMS and RDBMS. Okay. So DBMS is nothing but your database management system, guys. RDBMS is like a relational database management system. So DBMS or RDBMS is a way how you are storing the data. Database is an object where you are storing the data. Database, Excel sheet, flat files, papers, okay, leaves, stones. Those are like where you are storing the data. Table format, network model, tree structure, relational model. These are the ways that how you are storing the data. Where you are storing the data, how you are storing the data. Both are important, guys. So the data retrieval can be easy if you are storing the data in a better way, if you are organizing the data in a better way. So if you are storing the data, for example, when you started learning this course, I told you, right? So organize the things in separate folder, keep the notes in a separate folder, keep the software so that you can retrieve it easily. In a single folder, if I dump everything, the retrieval will be very difficult, right? So if you organize the things properly, you can retrieve it easily. Okay, so RDBMS and DBMS both are the formats how you are storing the data in the database management system, how you are storing the data in the database. So your DBMS and RDBMS will tell you, guys. Okay, and generally in any database software, we are going to store the data in the form of tables, guys. Maybe in future, maybe some other format might come, but as of now, in the RDBMS software, we are storing the data in the form of Tables. Okay, in the DBMS, generally there will be no relationship between the tables. The table will be very big, and while loading into the memory, it will take lot of, okay, we have to face lot of issues, lot of challenges are there. Safety, security, and all is a major concern. But whereas in the RDBMS model, the data will be stored in the form of tables only. But instead of big tables, we'll go with the small tables where there is a relationship between the each tables using a common column, guys. This is what the difference between DBMS and RDBMS. And we have also discussed a row, a record, and a column field. The vertical entity is called a column or field, and the horizontal entity is called a row or a record, guys. So this is what we discussed till now. Okay. Any questions here? No questions, right?
Yeah, it's clear, bro.
Fine. Okay. So let's slowly start with the versions of the SQL Server. What is version? I hope everyone is using iPhones or not iPhones, smartphones. People are using smartphones. Like some of them are using iPhone, some of them are using Samsung, some of them are using some MI phones, like your wish, whatever it is. Right. And you know the version. What is version, guys? An updated software copy is called a version. What is a version? An updated software copy of a SQL Server is a version, guys. Okay, an updated software copy. If you are using Android mobiles, now you know the version, right? I mean to say, you can easily identify the version. Means every software will have its own version. Means from like when it was released, when to when it was survived, everything will be there in the version, guys, right? We can track it. So in the Android, if you go, can you tell me any versions, like what and all versions are there in the Android? We have Android 4, Android 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Android 10.
11.
14.
11 is also running, right? 11, 12, 13, 14 is also running now.
Yeah, 14, sir.
Say iPhone, we have iPhone 10, iPhone SE, iPhone 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 came into the market. So if you tell iPhone 12, you'll get an idea, okay, from this period to this period, iPhone 12 is there. Now, can anyone is using iPhone 4 or iPhone 5 now? Now, anyone is using? Maybe, but very less, right? What is the challenge if you use old version phones? Whatever new apps are there, the latest apps and all, they cannot be compatible on the older version phones, guys. Right? So you can easily identify the version. Version is nothing but an updated software copy. iPhone 14 is there, iPhone 15 also there. So there is a difference between iPhone 14 and iPhone 15. There is a difference between iPhone 11 and 12, 12 and 13. Very simple example. So you can see your laptops. People are using laptops. So what and all operating system versions you have seen till now, guys? What operating system versions you have seen till now?
Windows 11.
7.
Windows 7, Windows XP, Windows Vista, Home, Windows Premium, Windows 8, 8.1, Windows
Yeah.
10. Currently, Windows 11 is running. These are all the versions. If I tell Windows 7, definitely will go back. Okay, Windows 7. During my college days, I used to use Windows 7. During my childhood, I used my Windows XP. Right? You will get an idea. So version will be available for a particular period, guys. Why? Because we are getting new versions. Definitely, if we are getting new phone into the market, people will stop using the old phone and they are going to buy the new phone. That doesn't mean if iPhone 15 came into the market, those who are using iPhone 14, they will throw their phones and they are going to immediately buy the iPhone 15. Depends upon the requirement. I want this feature. Chalo, go with iPhone 15. I want battery backup. Go with iPhone 50 Pro Max, something like that. Right? So in that case, it depends upon your requirement. You are going to upgrade. Right? There is no mandatory that you should upgrade. In the same way, we have different versions in the SQL Server. Okay? How we have Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows Premium. Windows 8, 8.1, 10, and 11. In the same way, we have SQL Server versions also. I told you, right? SQL Server started its journey in the 1980s, but officially it's released its first version in the 1993, I guess. Then it released one more version in the year of 1997. It was also not so popular. So this version changed the database industry, guys. Most of the people by the time they used to use DB2 is the very big database software during those days. IBM, right? So from IBM guys, Microsoft and IBM plays a very key role in the IT industry, in the technology industry, guys. IBM started developing the machines like in the beginning onwards. IBM means anyone knows the abbreviation of IBM? What is IBM? Anyone knows that abbreviation? International Business Machines.
Yes, sir.
Right? So IBM and initially IBM started creating the machines and all, guys. So now IBM is a small company, but IBM is a very old company. It's just introduced, the personal computers was introduced by Microsoft, but the business machines and all, okay, so introduced by your IBM only. Still lot of machines, machine means server, guys. Machine is nothing but a server. Okay, machine is nothing but a server. Still in the organizations, a lot of people will use IBM servers and all. Okay, so this SQL Server 2000 is a kind of a role model in the database industry, especially for Microsoft, guys. Most of the customers, why? Because from SQL Server 2000 onwards, they started introducing GUI. Without writing any queries, you can manage the database. What is the special in the SQL Server 2000, guys? Why we are learning SQL Server? Everyone, like one guy even asked, there will be no coding, right? Everyone, we are not interested on coding side, right? So we want to manage the things easily. Okay, so without coding, I want to manage. So GUI is the best option. Okay, so from SQL Server 2000 onwards, Microsoft introduced GUI in the database software, guys. Till then, there is no GUI technology in the database software. Okay, so in the year of 2000, guys, these are very important. I'll explain what is these numbers and all. Don't worry about these numbers, I'll explain, but these are very important, guys. You should remember these versions. The versions should be on tip of your tongue. Take a snap. Tomorrow I'll ask you in the beginning of the session, guys. Okay, tomorrow I'll ask you. Take a snap. Okay, so versions. So in the year of 2000, SQL Server introduced SQL Server 2000. Then in the year of after 5 years, 2005 is also good SQL Server software, guys. It's also occupied a lot of, it was improved from 2000 to 2005, like 5 years, it was improved, guys. So 2005 is also an excellent SQL Server software. Still people are using 2000, guys. Still people are using SQL Server 2000 in their office, their organization. People are using 2005. I told you, right, if iPhone 15 came into the market, means that doesn't mean you have to throw iPhone 14, 11, 10, 8. Whoever is using, they can use their phones. But some of the features are not compatible. That's it. If you're okay, you can use it. You just want to lift the phone, you want to talk, you want to disconnect the call. That's it. You can use the old phones also. Okay. So after 5 years, SQL Server 2005 came into the market. Then after 3 years, SQL Server 2008. In the same 2008 year, we have SQL Server 2008 R2, and then later 4 years, after 4 years, SQL Server 2012 was introduced, guys, and then SQL Server 2014, SQL Server 2016, 2017, 2019, and the latest version is SQL Server 2022, introduced last year, guys. These are the versions of the SQL Server. You should remember all these versions. These versions are very important. These versions should be on tip of your tongue. So the first question in the interview will be, on what versions you work till now? On what versions you work till now? So you should be able to tell the versions, right? So 2005, 8, 8R2, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19. These are different versions we have in SQL Server. Version is nothing but an updated software copy of a SQL Server, guys. What is a version? Version is nothing but an updated software copy of a SQL Server is called a version. What are these numbers and all? I'll tell you. Okay, so nothing. When you install SQL Server 2000, okay, so you can see 8.0. There is a number called build number. What is that, guys? Build number. Okay, so that is your build number. So when you install SQL Server 2005, so the build number starts with okay, 9.0, and when you install SQL Server 2008, the build number starts with 10.0, and when you install SQL Server 2012, the build number starts with 11.0 and 12.0, 13.0. I'll show you guys. I'll explain what is this build number, how it will be useful. Okay, so these are the numbers. As of now, these are the numbers, and I'll also tell you what are these 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. All these things will be discussed. Nothing to worry. So these are the versions in SQL Server 2000, 2005, 8, 8R2, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19, and 2020, 22 we have. As you know, SQL Server is an application, right? Right, guys? SQL Server is an application, right? It's just an application, right? Guys, please respond. What is that?
Yeah,
Please?
yes, software.
It's an
Yes,
application.
yes.
Yes.
So where we can install this application? If
On the
an
Windows Server.
application is there, we should be able to install this application on one platform, right? We should have one platform, right? We should have one platform. Without platform, you cannot install the application. So the platform is called operating system. What is this, guys? OS, operating system. So what is operating system? Can anyone tell me? What is operating system? If you ask me what is life, how we can tell, how we can show, right? So what is operating system, guys? Some things you have to feel it. We cannot see, we have to feel it. So what is operating system? You know, right? What is operating system? Just try it. What is operating system?
Interface between user and computer.
Very good. Right? So what is operating system, guys? It's an interface between user and computer or machine. Okay. So now you want to type something. So if you want that, the requirement is you want to type something. So where you are going to type? Okay, where you are going to type? You will use one application called Notepad. Notepad is also an application. Whatever you're opening, everything is an application. So I want to communicate with the machine. You have to tell to the machine, hey, machine, create the folder. Who will create it for you? Right click. If you choose new folder, now it is creating batch 52. Now you are renaming the folder from new folder to batch 52. Who is creating? Where you are creating? On which platform you are creating?
Windows, yeah.
Operating
Right?
system.
So the platform is called your operating system. If you want to install any application, that is the life. I told you right just now, Shanmukh, what is life? We cannot explain what is life until everyone is feeling, everyone is having life, but we cannot explain what is life. Is there any definition to the life, guys? No, we can only feel that life. Right? So the platform. So if there is a machine, if you want to talk to the machine, hey, create the folder. Hey, delete the folder. Hey, open the notepad. Hey, open the YouTube. Open this, close this, do that, do this. To whom you are saying all these things? To the system you are saying all these things. System can't understand your language. There should be an interface to do that. That interface is called an operating system. That platform is called an operating system. Okay, so what is that, guys? So that is the platform. So that platform is called an operating system. So using this operating system, we can install multiple applications. Like when we have a platform, so that we can build number of floors depends upon the platform, right? So this is also one platform. Like we can install many applications on this platform. I want to write something, you can use a notepad application. I want to watch something, you can use some browser application. I want to explore something, you can use browser application. I want to connect with the students, you can use a meeting link, that is one application. I want to create servers, you can use one application. So it depends upon your requirements, you are choosing the application, right? In the same way, I want to install SQL Server. So SQL Server is my requirement. The database software is my requirement. I want to install it. So you should have one platform. That platform is called an operating system. Okay. So up to SQL Server 2016, it's a platform dependent software. SQL Server is a platform dependent. What is this dependency, guys? What is dependency? It will depend on that particular thing, right? Dependency.
It's only
So
work
up to
on
SQL
Windows.
Server 2016, the SQL Server software is a platform dependent. Means you can install this SQL Server only on Windows operating systems. Guys, I told you, right, you should have one operating system to install the software, right? So in the operating systems, we have different types of operating systems, guys. Different types of vendors we have. We have Windows operating system. Okay, we have Linux operating system. We have Unix operating system. We have Solaris, and we have iOS. Okay, so we have different operating systems, guys. We have different operating systems. So SQL Server and Windows both are Microsoft products only, right? Right, guys?
Yeah.
SQL Server and Windows both are Microsoft products only. So up to SQL Server 2016, you can install SQL servers only on Windows operating systems. Only on Windows operating system. Till when, guys? Till 2016. Means 2000, 2005, 2008, 8 or 2012, 14 and 16. All these versions you can install. Okay, you can install up to here. You should have a Windows operating system to install SQL Server. That's the platform dependency. Platform dependency means they can be installed only on one platform called Windows operating system platform. From 2017 onwards, SQL Server is a platform independent. What it means?
We can install it on other platform as well.
Right. You can install SQL Server on Windows operating system, and you can install SQL Server on Linux operating system also. So 2017, 2019, and 2022. Okay, why? Because generally, if you want to manage, if you want to install SQL Server, you have to buy the license of SQL Server. And for the platform, you are going to use a platform, right? For that platform, you will use Windows Server operating system, right? So you have to buy the platform also. You have to buy the platform also. You have to buy the operating system, and then you have to buy the SQL Server. So both you have to buy. So very costly, guys. Microsoft products are very costly. So 2 licenses you have to buy to manage the SQL Server. That is the problem. Oracle, okay, you can install Oracle on the Linux machines. So Linux are completely free. So that's why mostly, like, the other reason why people will choose Oracle is the platform is free. No need to spend extra money on the platform, unless and until if you don't want any support from Linux side. But whereas in the SQL Server, you have to buy license of SQL Server, You have to buy one license for Windows Server also. So later what happened, Microsoft wants to increase the share. So from 2019 or 2017 onwards, it started introducing the SQL Server to Linux platforms also. So from 2017 onwards, it started introducing SQL products to the Linux platforms also. So up to 2016, it's a platform dependent so that you can install SQL Server only on Windows operating systems. So in the Windows operating systems, again, we have two types of Windows operating systems. Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me?
DOS.
DOS. DOS is different disk operating system. Okay, it's not Windows. We have desktop operating systems. Okay, server operating systems. We have desktop operating systems. So your Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows Home Basic, Windows Premium, Windows 7, okay, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10, Windows 11. These are all comes under desktop operating systems, which will be used for personal computing. For personal computing, only for personal. I want to take classes. This is my personal. I can use the laptop. I can use any of the operating systems. This is only for personal computing. All these operating systems are only for personal computing. But server operating systems are different, guys. If my work is completed, I'll shut down the laptop. Okay. Sometimes we'll have a lot of issues and all. Okay, we'll have sometimes with the desktop operating system, we have a lot of issues, a lot of challenges are there in terms of RAM, in terms of storage, lot of challenges are there to the desktop operating system. But whereas servers means, imagine IRCTC, how many millions of transactions it has to run every second. Net bankings, SBI banking, HDFC banking, millions, like how we are sending the money using UPI, how many millions of transactions are running across the country in a specific period, right? So you should have more resources like CPU, memory. CPU and memory are like resources, guys. CPU, okay, and memory. What is the CPU, guys? Can anyone tell me? Very good. Okay, CPU, central processing unit. So it's a kind of a brain, guys. Okay. What is memory or RAM?
It's a temporary memory.
Random access memory. Okay. So we'll give you a very brief information about this. Okay. What is CPU, what is RAM, and what is ROM? For every system, these are very important, these components. ROM means read-only memory. Read-only memory. Okay. So what are the differences between these things, guys? I guess we have Windows people are there in our batch. Windows admin. One Windows admin is there, I remember. Any Windows guys are there, guys? Any Windows guys? Right. Okay. Say for example, sorry,
I'm using Windows.
Vinay, you're a Windows admin, huh?
I think no.
You think no? Huh? That's okay. That's okay. So I thought one Windows guy joined. Okay. Fine. So I told you, right, CPU, what CPU will do? It's a brain of the computer, guys. It will only do all the processing and all, everything, whatever. You are writing something, you are typing something, you are selecting something, you are working with some applications, you're opening something, you're listening songs, whatever. These are the tasks, right? All these tasks will be performed by your CPU only. That is main, that is the brain, guys, brain of the system. What is the RAM? What is the RAM, guys? So what is the use of the RAM? Okay, it's a kind of virtual memory. So what is the use of the RAM? For example, just I'm giving you an example, guys. Just an example. Okay. Right. So just an example. So how you will calculate this value? For example, this is like imagine 10. So what is the value, guys? Can anyone tell me the answer? What is the value? You tell me the answer. Tell me the answer, guys. What will be the final value? Okay, or else let me go like this. And okay. So let me simplify. So instead of 5, let me go with this.
50 divided by 20. 50 divided by 2.
Tell me, guys. Okay, you can use this. Still, you can use this.
25, sir. Also.
25.
15.67.
Okay, 15.67. So someone said that 25. Someone said 15. So why? What is the difference? All are basic mathematics only, right?
10 into 5, 50.
Board mass.
Hmm. Who said board mass? Board mass. I hope whether you remember it or not.
24.666.
Right. So this is very important formula, bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. Bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction, guys. So even though you have all these things, you cannot start with 10 into 5. Okay. So if you see the rule, board mass, bracket of, if any brackets are there, first you have to start with the brackets. Then you have to start with the division. Then you have to go with the multiplication, then addition, then finally subtraction. So even though you can see this value, first you have to calculate 5 by 3. Whatever result it will come, then 10 into that particular value. Imagine, for example, 6. Imagine this is 6. Okay. So 6 by 3, which is 2. 10 into 2, which is 20. 20 plus 2, which is 22. 22 minus 3, like this. Okay. First you have to give value to bottom. First you have to give preference to bracket of. Then you have to give preference to division. Then you have to give preference to multiplication. Then you have to give preference to addition. Finally, you have to give preference to subtraction. So if you go like this, 10 into 6, how much? 60. 60 by 3, how much? 60 by 3, how much? 20. 22 plus 2, 20 plus 2, 22. Minus 3, 19. Right. So if you go like this, 6 by 3, 2. 10 into 2, 20. 22, 2 plus 2, 22. Minus 3. Like that also you're getting 19 only. But as these are simple values, you're getting the answer like this. But generally, you have to go with a priority, guys. Division, multiplication, then addition, then subtraction. So for example, 10 into 6, who will do this multiplication, guys? Or first 6 by 3, right? Who will do this 6 by 3? Division, who will do this? Who will do this? Your CPU will do that, right? Your CPU will do that. The tasks will be performed by your CPU, right? 2. The answer you got 2, right? So this 2, where it will be stored, guys? Why? Because this 2, again, we have to use the 2, right? 10 into 2, 20, right? So this 2 temporarily will be stored in the memory, RAM. Then again, 10 into 2, it will use. Then again, the value it will use. Then finally, until you get the answer, whatever values are there during the processing, that will be stored in the RAM, guys. I'm simplifying the things. Again, I'm not explaining what exactly RAM is going to do. I'm simplifying the things, guys. Okay. So whatever things are there to process, that will be temporarily stored in a temporary place called RAM. This is a temporary memory, guys. This is a temporary memory. This is not permanent memory. When you restart the laptop, whatever is there in the RAM, it will be cleared completely. That's why you will have less RAM, 8 GB, 16 GB. Why? If you have 4 GB RAM, as you have some limitations, So you cannot perform multiple tasks at a time. Why? Because you have only 4 GB RAM. Every application will use some RAM. So if you have 4 GB, not all applications can run completely. So you'll get performance issues.
Yeah.
So if you have more RAM, 8 GB, so you can open multiple applications. You can open some extra applications. If you have more GB, 16 GB, you can still, like even if you open 10, 20 applications also, it will run smoothly. If you have only 4 GB, if you open 4 applications, the 4 applications will struggle as they are not getting enough memory. If you have 16 GB and if you open 4 applications, definitely each application you get, application can be anything. Notepad is one application. You are listening the songs using Windows Media Player. That is one application. You are writing something using a Word document. That is one application. You are conducting some meetings. That is one application. So any application to run smoothly, you should have enough memory so that the processing and all will be done in the memory, guys. What is ROM then? Read-only memory.
ROM.
Right? So you want to store the data permanently, then you will use ROM, which is your disk. If you restart the laptop, the things that are there in your hard disk cannot be deleted, right?
Yeah.
Even though you restart your laptop, still you're able to see the data. But the RAM, you cannot see the data. It will be deleted when you restart the laptop. Again, the whole RAM, whatever objects are there, everything will be cleared. And again, when you start from that point onwards, it will start tracking in the RAM. So these are the main things in the system, guys. Okay, so we have desktop operating systems, we have server operating systems in the Windows. So why we'll use server operating systems in the organizations, guys? Because server operating system capacity is more. We can add more RAM to the servers, more storage to the servers. Our applications are big. If you have good enough RAM, then applications will be very fast. If you have less RAM, then applications will become very slow. So everyone is doing for business, right? So imagine Amazon is using less RAM to process the data. It cannot process multiple orders in milliseconds or in fraction of seconds, guys. It will take a lot of time to complete the order. So people don't come. They'll simply drop. They'll go to another website. So if your application is fast, then lot of transactions are happening. So it's easy to maintain. The business will improve. Right? So that's why. So we'll use server operating systems in the organizations. We don't use laptop. I mean to say desktop operating systems, guys. We don't use desktop operating systems. We'll use server operating systems in the organizations, right? Because server operating systems are, the capacity is more when compared to desktop operating systems. We can add a lot of RAM, we can add a lot of storage to the servers. Servers to be up and running for 24/7 by 365 days. Sometimes servers will run for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years without restarting. Without restarting, servers will be up and running since 5 years. Imagine, we will feel if you use your laptop from morning to evening, we feel like, okay, oh my God, it is running since morning to evening. Something will happen to my laptop. Servers will run years and years without restarting. So you should have more capacity. Servers should have more capacity when compared to personal computer size. So that's why in the organization we'll use server operating systems. Okay, to install SQL Server, you will use server operating system. You can install SQL Server in the desktop operating systems also, but we don't use desktop operating systems in the organization. We'll use server operating systems. So we have some server operating systems, guys. So like how we are having versions in the SQL Server, in the same way Windows Server is also having versions, guys. I'm sorry. So Windows Server also we are having versions like Windows Server 2000, Windows Server 2003, 8 R2, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2012 R2, Windows Server 2016, 19, and the latest version is Windows Server 2022. So if you see, some of the versions are common, guys. We have SQL Server 2000, we have Windows Server 2000. We have SQL Server 2008, Windows Server 2008. We have 2008 R2 SQL Server, we have 2008 R2. We have SQL Server 2012, we have Windows Server 2012. And we don't have 12 R2 in the SQL Server, but Windows Server is having 12 R2. We have SQL Windows Server 2016. We have SQL Server 2016, guys. Most of the versions are same. 2019, 2022 we have. So in the SQL Server also we have 2019 and 2022. So most of the versions are same, but this is your database application version and this is your platform version, guys. There is a difference between a database version and a platform version. This is your platform, this is the operating system, and this is your application. On this platform, I can install these SQL servers. On any of these platform, I can install any of the SQL servers. Okay, so that's how. Take a snap of the SQL Server versions, take a snap of the Windows Server versions, guys. So tomorrow morning, again, I'll ask you, okay, the beginning of the session. So you have to remember and you have to tell me, guys. Tomorrow I'll conduct a poll, okay, an exam kind of thing, small exam kind of thing. Okay, so you have to mark the answers, okay, once the class is started in the morning. So that's it for now. Take a snap of these versions, guys, so that you can easily identify. Tomorrow I'll tell you, Shanmukh, can I install all my SQL servers on all my Windows servers? Is it possible? Is it possible, guys?
No.
No, sir.
Not possible, right? Not possible. So on what kind of Windows Server versions I can install SQL servers will be discussed in the next session.
Okay.
Questions, please. Any suggestions? I hope. Okay, so most of you fill that form, but if you are not yet filled, please scroll down. Okay. Is it fine, Rajesh?
Yeah, okay.
Guys, just fill this form again. I mean to say, if you are not yet filled this form, okay, so just complete this, okay, registration, guys. I mean to say, just give the details, okay. So giving the details doesn't mean that you are confirming. Just give the details so that in future I can share the recordings and all. Okay, so I just pasted you the link, Google Docs. Just pasted you in our Zoom chat. Go to Zoom chat, open this, and if you are not yet filled, just fill it. If you are already filled, you can ignore it. Any questions in the meanwhile, guys?
So are we going to get these notes? Like what you have, the notepad?
You will get it. Once the registration is over, then we'll get the notes and all.
Okay, fine. Thanks, bro.
No problem. Questions, please. Any suggestions? Classes are going too fast, too slow, too technical. Nothing.
The difference between command and a query?
We'll tell you. We'll slowly discuss.
Okay.
Both are almost same. Okay, command and query both are almost same. But again, command is a kind of a single word. Query is a kind of a combination of multiple words, syntaxes we can say. Both are almost same. Okay. Any other questions, please? Questions?
No questions.
No questions. Are we good?
Yes.
Yes.
Fine then. Okay, so that's it for now, guys. So we'll connect tomorrow morning.
Yeah, sure.
7 a.m. IST with the same link. You can use same link to join, guys. Okay, so we'll connect tomorrow morning 7 a.m. IST. For US people, it will be tonight 9:30 p.m. EST. Okay. Fine.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll connect tomorrow and we'll discuss other things.
Thank you, bro. Good night.
Yeah, good
Thank you,
night.
sir.
Bye.
Okay, sir. Good night.
Yeah, good night.